Some say it's all about 1925 and beyond. The podcast. KC 100 year celebration with Pete A. Kennedy and Marlon A. Kennedy.
Welcome again, guys. It is the 1925 and Beyond podcast. It's your friend Pete A. Kennedy, Kingston College old boy, and I'm here with my co-host, big brother Marlon A. Kennedy. Just to let you know, I went to Kingston College between the years of 1992 to 1995. Played football, almost a soccer, because I live in Florida, and a lot of people always try to say it's football. Represented Coles 93, 94, lost in 93, won in 94, and then played Money Cup and exit outside. That is my record of Kingston College. Here's my co-host, big brother Marlon A. Kennedy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I won't go through as much word salad as my brother Pete, but I attended KC from 1986 to 1993, and I played cricket for KC and captain at all three levels. With us today, it's a pleasure to have KC old boy, a friend of mine, my first captain whilst I played cricket at the under 14 level, Mr. Andre Coley. Andre, welcome.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, man. Bless up. Fortis.
Yes. Fortis forever, my brother. Good to have you. All right, so what we want to start with, Andre, is just for those out there who don't know you, we want to push it out. Just let them know how you started, what was your life like before KC, and then we can just roll into everything after that.
Yeah, man. I went to KC between 1985 and 1992. Mm-hmm. That's inclusive of sixth form. And my father is is also a KC old boy.
Oh, wow.
So I did common entrance. And then when we were choosing schools, I think I can remember, it was a funny thing. I think he had 2 or 3 options that he had to select. Mm-hmm. And then yes. he did KC.
No, man, Mr. Coley, that I never heard that one before.
I was asking him, what do you mean, Daddy? What that? He said, I mean, it's KC. So, well, if you don't get through the KC, man, then we think about that. But, we're dealing with KC. I want you to go there and experience what I experienced and so on, the brotherhood and so on.
Yeah.
And I did. The interesting thing about that is that I was homeschooled for maybe about 2 or 3 years. Mm. And then I went to homeschool.
At what age?
My father used to, before I went to prep school and primary school.
Got it.
So I didn't have that basic school or that preschool kind of experience. Mm-hmm. But I remember that, when we left for work, we have this thing, I don't know if we still have it, we call it full scap. This long sheet of paper.
Yeah, man, blank paper.
Rule thing. And
yeah.
he used to leave multiplication and addition work on that sheet every single day. And then I had a passage of a chapter in some kind of book that I had to read and then write some kind of review on. Mm-hmm. And I remember I used to just be around the yard running around, and when I realized it was close to time that he was coming from work, he wants me hustling to finish off everything and write, But so he started basic school, and then he said he didn't think I was learning at the rate that I should have been, and then I was at home for about 3 years, and then he got me into the formal school system because obviously he needed that to get through. So I went to Richmond Park Prep, and interestingly. Most people on the call would know about Miss Helen Douglas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So she was the vice principal when I was at school, and basically the one who ran the school. Mm-hmm. Principal at the time was Major Cohen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Everybody know he was in charge, but the day-to-day run of school, fell to Helen Douglas. All the parents would be more familiar with Helen and so on. And then why I say it was interesting is because recently. I found out that she was the principal of Richmond Park Prep school I went to.
Yeah, she took over from her mother.
Yes.
Her mother passed on, and she took over the school, running the school.
Yes.
Nice, man. So I reached out to her, and I went by and visited her, and since then we've been, regained contact. And then also my chemistry teacher, Mrs. Branch.
Yes.
I've been in contact with her recently. So I've been in contact with. It's brought back some really good memories from school. So yeah, and then I went to a Melrose All Age on Little Q Road, and then I can remember doing common entrance around 9. So when I went to KC, I think just before I turned 10.
Hold on, Mr. Coley. 1 second, because this is a podcast. When the story is sweet, sometimes we have to jump in to make sure the audience kind of understand the message. So you're saying you went to prep school and then you went to all-age school.
Yes.
And then after that, you took the common entrance, which led you to Kingston College.
Yes, I did the common entrance.
Just wanted to make that clear, because I think that's unique.
Yeah, I can't remember what really happened. I started the prep school, and I don't know if it was maybe because we moved. But Richmond Park to Little Q Road is not that big a distance anyway. But I remember going to the all-age school. I don't know if it had anything to do with more extracurricular activities or whatever. I'm more about being more rounded, etc. I can't recall. But I remember going there for a couple of years. I remember skipping a grade, and then doing common entrance. And so by the time I got to KC, I was still 9, but because my birthday is in September, so I turned 10 just after I got to school. So yeah, and so that was my introduction to KC, and yeah. So my father and I still every now and then.
So it's
life.
It's safe to say, Andre, that we really don't know how well you did in common entrance, because if you never get your first choice, you get your second. If you get the second, you get your third.
Your father surely set you up for success.
Yeah, man.
All right, so tell me now, how was it at KC now?
Just like most KC old boys, it would have shaped who we are today, our mindset, etc. I mean, the motto itself, just memorizing the motto, the brave may fall but never yield, is something that, just stays with you for life. So whatever journey you are in life, we have always had that has always stayed with me in terms of, during challenging times, there always a solutions-oriented approach. We always could find a way, and you guys know that too. We're not about the moaning and so on and the groaning. We're about finding a way and so on, and just the ethos of the school. We move around the boys' school. You have your challenges day to day. Where you have to step up as a young boy. I remember going to school sometimes and. A man will touch on your left shoulder. You go to lunch, and you have your chicken and rice is a thing. Even now,
right, chicken and rice.
A man touch you on your left shoulder, and you go left, and you look, it's just rice left.
Chicken gone.
It's all them things you have to understand. So after a while, a man touch you, man have to really come in front of you. If you really want and then there are other little things that would go on in the school that became mature over time. And then obviously because of the split campus as well, starting at Melbourne and then transitioning over to North Street. And there are quite a few people that would have left.
Before you go along those lines, Andre, for those who don't know that you were a professional cricketer and also a certified licensed international cricket coach. So what led you to cricket at KC? And then after answering that question, when I first met you, you were not a wicket keeper. So what had that transition from a regular outfielder to becoming a wicket keeper? But what led you to cricket at KC first most?
Well, in a similar way where, I went to KC through Daddy. Daddy also introduced me to the game. And we used to live in a dead end at the time. And I remember there were times, maybe on a weekend or so, where we used to play catch a shubby, where he would bowl at me and vice versa. And at that time, it's not the pretty balls that we have now with the leather coating. It's real cork and tar we use in the road and so on. And I mean, I still have one or two of them dents in machine. You know. So he loved the game. He introduced me to the game from maybe early 8, 9, that around that age. And then when I went to school, KC had a well-established cricket program at the time, being run by George McLean, you know, and Coach Mac, you know, and I spent, well, all of my years learning the game through him. And then, you know, as Marlon would have said before, got into the under 14 and then just progressed through the age group cricket and then progressed into national age group representation. And then through that now got a scholarship myself. I remember this, myself and Roger Neal were the first, I think, cast at the time. That started to disburse scholarships. And Roger Neal and myself were the first two recipients of those scholarships to cast. No UTEC. Did sixth form and then went there and but at the same time while I was going on, I was still representing youth cricket for Jamaica. And then I played first class cricket. But Marlon talked about professional cricket, but I don't think I played long enough to really earn the title of a professional cricketer. Played 2 years for Jamaica and just, you know, there's this saying that those who can't coach.
But you've been exposed, Andre. You've been exposed, you know. You've been exposed to that level, so you know it's easy to say you were a professional cricketer.
The quality was so high at the time that I mean you had to be at your best, and it really, even at youth cricket, I mean you were really challenged because we were also at that time, you know, playing with Mario, Ventura, you know, to name a few others, Robbie Samuels, Valentino. You know, yourself, quite a few others that, I mean, if I start naming people, I will forget people and people get vexed. But then that was my sojourn into the game and I went right through and then, you know, coaching was never part of what I wanted to do. But then I'd lost my place in the team and, you know, I then was asked to assist, I think Jeffrey Dujan at the time. He was coaching director of West Indies Cricket. You know, he wanted to start an under 15 wicket keeping development program. And I said, boy, do you want to know about this coaching thing? You know, there's not something. I had one of the best coaches, if not the best coach I experienced, worked with. I can't step up to that kind of thing. And he was saying, no, it's not about coaching. Just come and do the demos for me. I will do the coaching part. I just need them to be able to see how it's done. And then that, you know, I enjoyed that experience interacting with that young group of players. And then I was given other opportunities to do other things and, you know, kept growing in different areas. And, you know, unfortunately, I've been able to, you know, progress from youth cricket right through to international level, which, and I think just what I learned at school, you know, how to navigate challenging situations, you know, how to be sociable in different arenas and interacting with a wide cross section. Because when you're at school, you know, I mean, you're meeting a lot of different students from all walks of life, you know, socio-economical background, etc. Varied. So a lot of what I have done and my own philosophy on life and going about things professionally and personally, a lot of that would have been inculcated not only at home because I had a stable home, you know, parents and a younger sister who were quite supportive. And then also you had that support network at school. So I think when you put all of those, I mean, I can also remember, you know, things like caning and so on, where, you know, I've had my fair share of caning. You know.
A lot of guys talk about that when they actually do with the podcast. But since you're the first cricketer that is on that we've interviewed, I want to say for those who are watching in Almontown, when we used to go watch Marlon play, we watch Sunlight and pulling at him. We used to say, man, this man used to spend all day and the man just reached certain numbers, and we just said, come on, man, just hit this ball. But we weren't the cricketers, we just went to support him, so we just want to do that. On the outside, that's what we were saying growing up in regards to seeing him play. But it was a pleasure, and definitely you guys really represented the school well. So good job.
Yeah, Marlon was definitely a special one, man.
Yeah,
Himself,
man, very
Robert,
special.
himself and his brother, you know. Robert, special, yeah, for sure.
So let me ask this question, right? Since you talk about coaching, and this is one that is because of the actual story you just shared. What do you think when you think of Kingston College, right? And stepping into the role of leadership when we talk about coaching, because that plays its part to it. What is it? What is one thing you think that KC gave you that allowed you to be successful in the leadership part of your journey in cricket when you coached?
My experience at the school, were underpinned by a couple of things. Most of the cricket, the same, just to answer your question, dealing with Roy Mack. And I'm sure Marlon will attest to this.
Mhm.
So discipline was at the forefront of everything. We had to be on time. And this was even more challenging because of the fact that he had a job outside of coaching us. So he would only get to the school after he was finished, which was maybe around maybe an hour, 2 hours after school was finished. But we had a structure where we had to do certain things. We had
certain drills we had to go through before you got there.
There are certain drills that we had to go through. The structure, discipline and structure, I would say the biggest things that I would have taken from being in a cricket program. Obviously the basics around the game and how to play it would be the third thing, but the discipline would have been the first thing. The structure and then the strong basics were the main things that I would have taken from that would have transitioned, or I would have adopted in my coaching philosophy along the way.
And as the captain, from what I understand from Marlon, you were responsible to make sure those drills get done before he got there.
Yeah, so each captain was responsible. So whether it's under 14, under 19, under 16, because we only had three teams at the time. Each captain was responsible for that. And then for each higher age group, players in a higher age group would then support the lower ones. So under 16 players would support under 14, under 19, under 16, under 14, etc. Whilst doing their own work, they would still keep an eye out and making sure, so we had to go and collect the equipment, we had to, collect certain balls, we had to line it up and then, we'll go and do our thing. I remember the stairs, from the burnt out building, that was part of our warm-up routine where we had to do the stairs. So yes, the structure, the discipline. And as I said, he would normally get to school an hour and a half or so after school. And then he would just get into the main section of the training.
Nice.
Which is what I've seen. So since then, former players like Robert Samuels and Andre Richardson and Shane Brooks, who is the current coach at KC, they have adopted a similar kind of. We have all gone through that process. Yeah. So in some ways there are some similarities, but obviously as individuals there are some differences as well. But we would have gone through that kind of approach.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So I know that you've done a few stints as well in coaching at the international level, in particular with West Indies and also with the CPL, correct?
Yes.
All right. So just give us that story as well. What was it like coaching the CPL, and then also in particular, what was it like coaching the West Indies cricket team?
And what does CPL mean for those who do not know, who are not cricketers?
Caribbean Premier League.
Yes.
It's a T20 competition in the Caribbean.
Nice.
So it is well, I don't want to say comparable, but it is what the IPL is to India, the CPL is to West Indies cricket. Obviously, on a smaller scale as it relates to numbers and financial input and output, but it's similar kind of the main T20 tournament in our region, run by Caribbean Premier League. But yeah, so as you know, as I would have transitioned through the different coaching roles, I would have coached under Jamaica under 15s, under 19s, and then I was then asked to coach the West Indies under 19 team in a World Cup in New Zealand in 2010.
Nice.
Where we finished third. After we went through, we got to the semi-finals and then we lost in the semis, and then we had a playoff to line up the rankings for the next year. And we finished third. That was a little bit disappointing because I thought that we were really on target. But we did pretty well. And some of those players who would have been in that team have gone on since then to play for West Indies in different formats, whether it's T20, one day, or Test cricket.
Wow.
So that's also good. Still, every now and then we reminisce on some of those things. And then, I was asked to spend some time at the Sagicor High Performance Center, which was based in Barbados.
Yeah.
So I'd go there occasionally and spend time doing specific things. And then whilst I was there, Otis Gibson, who was the then West Indies head coach, had recognized, because the West Indies team used to come into Barbados at the academy to train and prepare for tours, etc. And one of my main responsibilities at the time was assistant director of the academy, as well as wicketkeeping and fielding was my main responsibility at that time. So whenever the West Indies team came in, I would support and lead on those areas. And then the subsequent coaches have asked me to stay on in that similar kind of role. So since then it was Otis Gibson, Phil Simmons. Then you had from Australia, I forgot his name now. For a short time, he had asked me to just support on a particular tour. And then Phil had come back. And then I had gotten to a point where I wanted to explore, having been an assistant coach for a while, I wanted to explore leadership. Because go back to one of the things you asked me about the school, was that we were all taught to be leaders in our own right. So a tag of captaincy was okay. That's a bonus. You've been entrusted with this responsibility, but we were all expected to lead. We will accept responsibility for our own game, etc. And so I wanted to also explore that. What would it be like to be a head coach at a certain level? So I took on a head coach role with the Windward Islands cricket, and then with Jamaica cricket. And then whilst I was doing that, I was asked to lead on like 18 tours. West Indies 18 tours away and at home. So my current role is actually the contract ends in June. You might have heard in the media that there's a transition happening now. Yeah, where Darren Samuel will now assume the role across all the formats. So June 2023, I was appointed as the red ball coach, which was the Test and the 18. Responsibility, which I still have, and I'll do it up until the end of June. Darren comes in April, but we have been having that kind of dialogue in terms of how we'll partner. So and then during the CPL, I've worked with 3 different teams. I've worked with the Zooks at the time. I worked with the Patriots, the St. Lucia Zooks, in early days of the CPL, and St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots. And then most recently, maybe a couple of years ago, with the Jamaica Tallowers, when we won the title again. So yes, I've had several opportunities to have traveled and worked in different roles: assistant coach, head coach, So I'm very happy at the opportunities that I've been given. And my grounding at KC, I believe 100% really contributed to me having a level of confidence, me having a level of structure and discipline that, would have been required in the different roles. And then as the years progress, I would have developed my own philosophy along different things, etc. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Now, Mr. Coley, hold on to Marlon, because Mr. Coley dropping some nuggets that he humbly is mentioning that I want to make sure I can recap for the people. You said
let me hear you.
You coached the Jamaican Talawas, right?
I was assistant coach.
Assistant
put that
coach,
on record, yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, just to make, but I heard some leading around that team.
Yes.
And you said won the championship again.
Yeah, so the Jamaica Talawas that won it under different leadership.
Different leadership.
Got it. Okay, just wanted to make
in the early stages. So it wasn't. I wasn't involved in that one at the time.
Got it. Just want to make sure, because I was going to say that's what we do at Fortis, even though still that's what we do at Fortis.
So one of the important things, Andre, with coaching in the West Indies, and especially at that level, is that you get to interact with cricketers from all across the region. How do you manage that process as a coach? Because yes, men are men, boys are boys, but we also have different cultures. How do you put that together as a coach to get everybody singing off the same sheet of music?
Yeah, it's quite complex. As you said, the intent is always to get everyone singing off the same hymn sheet and moving in the same direction. So the network of coaches that we have. So what I've done usually, I've interacted with and worked closely with the network of coaches in the region. So all the head coaches of the different countries. So the 6 main territories at play regionally. So Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, the Leeward Islands and the Windward Islands. The 6 main, and then most recently the academy team has been involved, and then there's a team that comprises the university campuses, so colleges and campuses, including all the university campuses and other tertiary institutions who are involved in cricket. They come together to form a team. So just interaction across the board, and then just keeping in touch with each player. Once a player comes into the team, then they come in the specific roles. They know what we're trying to achieve and how their role dovetails generally into contributing to the team's success. It has been challenging, I would say, just because our cricket has not been at the level that would have been years before, but there have been brilliance in performance, or we have had brilliant performances individually and by the team in different over the years. So it's really now a situation where we're working together to equip the next generation of players across formats. One of the challenges we face is that we have a lot of players who are now playing what we call franchise cricket, which is T20 cricket around the world, which is quite lucrative. So just being able to manage and the players' workload, quite a few of the players, a high percentage of the players actually play professionally away from the West Indies, where they earn for themselves and their family. So just working with those coaches and the players to manage their workload, to make sure that everyone is fit and at their best to play across the formats is also something that is increasingly challenging. But with good communication, we've been able so far to have majority of our players fit and ready.
Thanks, Andre.
And available.
So as we look to wrap up a very interesting session with you, a couple of questions before we close out. What is there anybody that stood out for you whilst you were at KC? Yep. Whether fellow student, an old boy, parent, teacher, supporter, administrator, staff, coach, anybody that stood out to you, and why was that?
And not to make fun, hold on, even if captain, I don't know if you remember captain who used to dip on the grounds, so captain has impacted some mentors. So we're not leaving anybody out.
Who you call captain?
A lot of people for different things, and I try to keep in touch as much as possible. So first would have been my English teacher, Sharon Northover. I've never forgotten her name.
Oh yes, Miss Northover.
She was one of the best teachers that I've experienced.
Wow.
Just in terms of how she took us through English language, literature, etc., and made it interesting. But still kept the discipline. And then we had I told you Mrs. Branch.
Yep.
Chemistry.
How was that? She was a brown lady.
Yeah.
Mrs. Branch.
Yes.
With Jerry curls and thing.
Yes. No, she's quite fit. Every now and then I buck her up doing our walking up and down. So
okay. Yes.
Whatever. But we keep in touch. She still looks the same, boy, I tell you. We catch up every now and then. She was quite good, did pretty good at chemistry as well. Mr. Plummer, which was a sports master at the time.
Yeah.
I think was very, very supportive. Mr. Goldsmith, who used to run the gym, who died. Roy McLean, we spoke about. Gary, Mr. Neil, Gladdy Neil, who gave so much of himself, and alongside Roy Mac was almost like what we call a manager nowadays.
Yeah, man.
Made sure we were okay. And his sons Gary and Roger played for Jamaica, youth cricket and so on as well. They were ahead of us, Marlon and I. Think about even Major. Major and I had some very interesting conversations.
Outside of the caning.
Outside of the caning. Yeah, I think one day I jumped the school gate to the back of the school. I don't know if you want this and this. I went to go to Miss Pearl.
Yeah, man. Everybody
talk a story, man.
What that journey, yeah, man.
But Miss Pearl, I jumped down for eat the, we always order 5 flour, which is 5 flour. I mean that, and I jumped down behind the wall right in front of Major one day, just scrape me up on some other man and carry back around, line us up with caning and whatever. But those were different days, though. Those were days where if teachers caught us misbehaving, they had the right to discipline us. Then we would never feel like you want to tell your parent because they know you get ×2. So just that kind of community support and upbringing we got that at the school. So there are a couple other people, obviously. Pooh, who did the Pooh, and up to yesterday I saw him at the school. I visited the school yesterday. He prepared all the pitches and
Flower, the mighty Flower, man. Flower. Yeah, see him, man. Flower.
Because I'm size, we used to get the Pooh, him so big.
Yeah.
But Flower, so quite a few others that, I'm not going to be able to remember everybody.
No, we just want the most memorable ones. So that's
yeah, man. Helen Douglas,
right.
Helen Douglas, who ran the school for years, as I mentioned before, and you must know that it must be heartwarming to still be able to remember these people and still carry on a conversation.
Yeah.
I saw Helen Douglas yesterday, just going through a supermarket. I just said, "Oh, Andre, hug up and ting out, we chat, just that mutual respect. We're both adults now and so on.
And Mr. Coley, she didn't tell you that she had the opportunity to come on the 1925 and Beyond podcast, because we sure interviewed her days ago, and we learned so much from Miss Douglas. I haven't seen her in decades.
Yeah, man. A podcast. Obviously, she would definitely be somebody that you'd have had on and quite early in the mix as well.
Yeah, man.
So those are some of the people. Even people like Robert Samuels, who he would have Valentina Ventura, who would have captained me on the 19 level. You'd have learned from them as well. There was one thing around the discipline that I will share this with you if we have time.
Yeah, man.
Is we talk about the discipline, and somebody just before Roy Matt died, he was at home, by that time he had gotten older and so on, and then I had gotten involved in coaching, and occasionally I would pick his brain on different things. And then a former an old boy went there to check him and then gave me a call. So my phone was ringing and said, boy, Andre, guess where I am? I said, where? I said, around by Rymac, you know. I said, oh, yeah, man, you'll coach for me, man. And him say, yeah, man, but I go through a book. Because the coach had a big leather bound book where he had all his drills and his notes for each session. And that was like his pride and joy. That
Bible.
was, the Bible, coaching Bible.
Yeah.
And him say, listen, I want to read something to you. I even tell me if it sounds familiar. And he started to read something. And what he was actually reading, it took me back maybe when I was about 15 years old.
Wow.
I had to write a letter to rejoin practice because I walked out of training. I mean, I was that kind of, all of us, I was that kind of youth at the time.
Yeah.
People don't see it now, but at that time I was, man, now back down, listen.
Nah,
and then we used to not rude, and not disrespectful, but we are hold the ground. And then the way coach used to set up the trainings, the practice session to keep it competitive was that every now and then he would play certain games, small-sided games that would include, that would put the under 16 against the under 19. And I can remember distinctly, I was the under 16 captain and Robert Samuels was the under 19 captain. And there's a particular drill that we did. And we score, you could score runs a particular way, and then at the end, he would then tally up to see who won. And I was feeling a particular shot. I can never forget this. I think it was short cover or short mid-wicket. And he would lob the ball, and then the batsman would try and hit the ball. And Robert Samuels was batting, and Robert Samuels advanced on the wicket and hit the ball. And I remember diving to my right, one-handed, and taking the ball inches off of the ground. And throw it up in the air, and everybody around me, and I say, yes, we're going with a big fish. And Sammy no move. and I said, but yo, boss, and I'm saying, I'm standing ground. So coach asked him, so boss, you're out, you're out. And Sammy said, no, I'm not out. He said, what? No, man, this is too important, man. Coach, you take the man's side, whatever. Man said, well, man say no, That time Robert was playing for Jamaica already, He started playing from 18 or something like that. So I say, no, I'm not deal with this thing because the thing is not fair.
Yeah.
And I put on the ball, and I pack up my stuff, and I just walk out of the train, and I gone home. I say, coach, can't bother this. Now pay the thing fair. Yeah, do it because Sammy is your favorite thing.
Sammy. I'm going to remind him of that story there when him come on the podcast.
But you love the cricket so much, that you want. But you can't just walk back in a Rymac training, so you'd storm out so like a big man, like a big and bad. And then my father used to ask me, so you're not going training? You don't really want to lie still, but I training or keep right now or whatever. But then he made his investigations and contacted Rymac and what's happening. And Rymac told him, and father, gave it to me. Yeah, just reasoned about it and thing. I said that was disrespectful, whatever. And thing. And then Rymac said, well, it's like what coach said, if you want to come back training, you have to write a letter, you have to a letter of apology, and you have to apologize in person. I said, I do that, man. I'm know me catch a ball.
Yeah, exactly.
But you miss the cricket so much. Listen, the coach have to write the letter, write the letter. Yeah. So I wrote the letter on the same thing, piece of exercise book paper, and I presented it to him, and I had to read it out in front of everybody. I stopped all the train. I said, young Mr. Coley has something to read, and something to say, and I apologize in front of everybody. And he shook my hand and said, listen, let this be an example. Discipline is the only thing that matters here, and whatever went through, I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But then that stayed with me. So when so he gave the guy the one that went to check him, gave him the phone. And coach came on the phone and said, Andre, you remember this letter? You still have it, So what he had done is that he had glued it onto a page in his book. And that was a very fond memory I have of coach and so on. So it just underpins the discipline and so on, how we took the cricket and how important it was to us. And we used to support all the other sports. And I believe it's the same thing. We got to champs, man. It's just a sea of purple. Football playing is the same. Basketball, whatever it was. Table tennis, school challenge. You know, I don't want to leave out any other sports, but we just support everybody.
That's true. That's true.
But then we're talking about the school and everything. But there's one person that I mean, obviously later in life that I met, and the person who I've been married to for 20 years now, my wife Shelly Sykes at the time, Shelly Sykes Coley now, where I mean she's been a beacon in a similar way or the support network of my parents growing up and at the school, and coach Roy Mack and so on. I think she from the start, she has been with me from the early days of coaching, and she's been that pillar, that rock. So I identified a lot of those qualities that, you know, that we would have experienced and learned at the school. And so we talk about a lot of other people who would have contributed in formative years. But I mean, my wife has been a proper rock for 20 years, which and continues to be that, you know.
Pick up yourself, Mrs. Coley, wherever you are.
Yeah, man. So it's long suffering, man, because you know we want to own way and whatever and thing, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to just hug it up and say, you know, get your own way now, and you just. But yeah. So in all, there would have been people from the school, and then obviously the other coaches, Phil Simmons and other people who would have helped. Not necessarily attached to the school. Junior Bennett, even though he's not a KC man.
Yeah, man.
You know,
JB.
You know, played for Jamaica, then he was a coach at U Cricket. So yeah, man. So that's it. Just the grounding at the school, man. The discipline, never giving up, the structure. You know, you're not going to see any other things in my car like my tie on the dashboard or whatever and so on, because I was always
license plate in purple.
No, well, I mean, everybody like what they like.
Yeah.
I was never really that, but I would always try to keep in touch and stay connected one way or the other. But I do need to get some shirts though.
But this is how everybody supports it different. And this is what we like. Some guys, Mr. Coley, they will paint the house purple and white, but ask them when last them go down on Art Street over the years and decades. Yes, so we appreciate the physical promotion and marketing to support the school.
Well, don't get me wrong, you know, Pete. Don't get me wrong, you know, because you have a lot of
no, but what I'm saying is your contribution, not to cut you. Your contribution is you got to the school. Like you said, you were there yesterday, right? We were there yesterday, and so I want to say it's all right because you're doing it in your own way, your own style, and that's how we show up.
I try to, and I mean, listen. Whatever contribution I make over the school, I am sure 100% pales in comparison to what others do. The time, the effort, the sweat. I mean, I travel a lot, so you know, I have over the years, so I haven't spent that much time. There and so on, but I know there are a lot of unsung heroes that continue to give her the time, the effort, the resources to support the school. So I will big up those people, male and female too.
Yes,
not only old boys. I mean, people who would have come to know about the culture and the motto of the school. You know, get pulled towards that kind of you know, the institution and so on. So yes, a big up to those people. I mean, I don't play the value of everybody else, you know, but I try to do what I can with, you know, whatever I have time or whatever.
Appreciate that, Andre. So in closing, we just want to similar to all our guests for this year, we're in the year of 2025, to wish KC happy 100, and then also to just leave a message of some sort to the current student body, everybody out there, the 40 supporters and everything. Persons will be seeing this at some point in time.
Yeah, man. And a happy 100th anniversary to Kingston College. Present students, former students, former teachers and present teachers, the leadership, former and present. You know, I want to wish another 100 years. I know Mr. Marino as principal, you know, he's performing his role. I want to wish him all the best in his role for years to come. But it's just to the young players. No, we go through different generations and so on. But to people like myself and others, you guys on the call, Kingston College was so important to us in terms of the nurturing and instilling certain values in us. Respect, that willingness to fight and not give up, and understanding and embracing challenge. So we want to encourage everybody to, student population and everybody associated with the school, continue to give of your time and effort, continue to, especially the students, be appreciative of what you're being taught and the guidance you're given, because it all comes from a good place. Mm-hmm. And if you take what the school gives, I'm sure it will make you a better person. You'll continue to, you'll be able to add value to society, to the country and the world, because it's not only Jamaica you're adding value to. I mean, we have alumni who, have blossomed in a number of different areas, a wide cross section of areas. Yeah. So you're going to add value to the country and to the wider the world. But remember though, whenever you wear the tie, whenever you wear something that identifies you with Kingston College, who you're representing, 100%. Yes. What your behavior and so speaks a lot of that, and we have a name in Jamaica and the world where, it's iconic, and it's all around positivity and solving problems and never giving up,
And a tad bit of cult behavior, as them say.
That as well.
That's cult. Well, we're a cult.
Well, listen, so that's a perception, and that could be, that potentially, that unfortunately is the main perception. But at the end of the day, I think what follows that after somebody tell you that is just a massive level of respect.
Yeah, man. I believe it's out of admiration. I don't even say it's out of hate or envy. It's just it's just what we have.
I just so stay, man.
Yeah.
Just so stay and thing, So so I wish every 100 anniversary, and that we have a good 2025. Good health, prosperity, and we continue to make strides as a school and as Kingston College.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, Andre. Wow. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I want to use the opportunity to wish you all the best in your continued role as coach and any other endeavors that you take on as well. From the 1925 and Beyond podcast, special big up to Mrs. Coley and the work that she's doing.
Yes, for sure.
From based on what you have described, we're going to write a special letter to the GG so she can get a medal at King's House. Working with you for so long,
I feel a whole heap of Jamaican women deserve medals. Because, we want to do
I agree.
No disrespect to the other ladies who are supporting the Fortis.
Of course. Big up to the Fortis women, 100%.
Indeed. We're going to get a couple of them on the podcast, so, we're going to get some of them, man.
Definitely.
Trying to identify a few famous ones. We're going to get them up and around.
Man.
Thanks again,
you
Andre.
have it,
Respect.
ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Andre Coley from the one and only Kingston College. You've heard it. The man who didn't even want to coach became one of the greatest coaches ever since actually come across the island. He talks about discipline. He talks about support. But most importantly, that every single a guest on the podcast has talked about so far is the brave may fall, but never yield. Just know that Kingston College is one of the greatest ever, and we just want to share the journey as you hear them. Everyone is unique. Mr. Coley, thank you so much again. We appreciate it. Thank you for all the work that you do, especially in the field of your expertise, which is cricket. And I must say, God bless you. And from 1925 and beyond, we love you. But before you go, we have to end every one of the actual sessions with a KC shout out. And at KC, I want to say, you said it. And for others who are coming on, just know we don't ask you to wear the purple we represent, but for those of you who want to, you can. But we always end with this. Like we said, brother, at Kingston College, it's one of the greatest places ever. And our motto goes as Fortis, Cattery, Cedere, non potest.
The brave may fall, but never yield.
God bless you.
Man.
Walk good. And cheers.